not look good for the young Wimbledon champion, as Kuznetsova has beaten her twice.
The last time was in Beijing after the U.S. Open, where Sharapova was not in the match at all. Kuznetsova really took control. She served well and was able to out-hit Sharapova.
Kuznetsova's forehand can be lethal, particularly the inside out. She was talking to us, Mary Jo, and said how she never saw Steffi Graf play a match on television or live. Of course, Graf was known for the big forehand.
Moving forward, Kuznetsova.
Easy first game for Kuznetsova. One game to love. Again, one of the Williams sisters is here. Venus didn't make it, but Serena did, and she won last night her match. So she will continue her effort here to win another year-ending championship. Watch this match against Elena Dementcheva tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern Time as we continue our round-robin coverage of the WTA Tour Championships. Kuznetsova 1, Sharapova 0. I was checking the grass court results, by the way. We were talking about Sharapova losing to Kuznetsova at Wimbledon last year, but she came very close to winning in Birmingham last year on grass, and that match against Kuznetsova was in the 4th round. She'd beaten Dokic and Bovina and Harkelrode. She's a good grass court player, I guess is where I'm going.
It's her favorite surface. She hits very heavy off both the forehand and backhand. They don't come back as often as they do on other surfaces, and that's been an advantage.
Keeping the rallies shorter, longer the rallies go. Tonight will be to Kuznetsova's advantage. Both players, though, serve well. I'll be interested to see who serves better. Sharapova a little more dramatic on the court, a few more moves, takes her time between points a little more, does his little stutter step footwork where Kuznetsova just kind of goes from side to side.
Sharapova used to scream like a wild one, remember, a couple of years ago, and she still sometimes, when she gets to the latter stages of a match, gets really tight. You will hear her.
It does. The grunting gets a little louder. The
Not Silas-like, but
a little close.
Point.
Not as consistent as Salas's grunt, or scream if you would prefer. But I think at the loudest, I think Sharapova wins.
By the way, up front, I was telling you about John Roy. What I didn't say was that he's a Grand Slam winner himself. He won the mixed doubles at Wimbledon. He's a broadcaster for the BBC. He lives here in LA.
With Wendy Turnbull. Doesn't live with Wendy Turnbull in LA. One Wimbledon mixed doubles with Wendy Turnbull.
Glad you clarified
yes. That. Wife Deborah would appreciate that.
Sharapova wins, and it's one apiece.
Good hold for Sharapova, who's had a little bit of shoulder problems the last few weeks. Felt that the balls have been a little heavy. I think it's more of a case of playing more than usual. Still trying to get strong, doing a lot of fitness work.
She's still under any age restrictions?
Yes, until she's 18.
Well, I thought so, but it seems like she's played a full schedule.
Well, I think what it is she's done so much better in the tournament. She's played more matches.
A two-handed, which is really unusual, and she hit it so well. You don't see two-handed slice backhands hit with that kind of firm belief.
It's a shot she's been working on in practice a lot.
Does she ever go with a one-handed slice?
She's trying. She's still, I don't think, strong enough to do it with the one, but she's doing it with two hands, and she wants to be able to change the pace up.
I think she's going to be able to do it, Joe, because you're a two-hander. It's not that easy to hit a
It's
two-handed
not.
slice.
And you have
with
much
two
more
hands.
reach with one hand. You see how she's moved up in the rankings. Ended last year at 32. She's 6th right now. Good match record, over 50. Whenever you hit 50 in a year, it's been a great year.
She was 6 years old when she moved from Siberia. Her dad, Yuri, whisked her to Nick Bollettieri's place in Braden.
Football called on that first serve by Kuznetsova.
Sharapova's mom, Yelena, couldn't get a visa, and she had to stay behind, separated from her hubby and daughter for 2 years before she could join them.
Alone in Siberia? No, thank you.
They all live in Bradenton now.
Sounds better.
Beautiful. And Kuznetsova on the run. There's that winner up the line. She keeps her left hand really firm on this double-handed backhand to guide it up the line from outside the doubles alley.
Brother was an Olympic cyclist. She has the legs of a cyclist.
She told us before the match, she just used to watch cycling on TV all the time. Not a lot of tennis.
And when she told us she'd never watched Steffi Graf play a match even on television, that was, wow. But it's been 5.5 years since Graf is retired. Second time that Kuznetsova's tried to serve and volley, did it successfully in her opening service game. Love to see that young player throwing in some differing plays.
It's a great return. That's her best shot, the double-handed backhand for Sharapova. A lot steadier than the forehand. She'll hit more winners off the forehand.
Kuznetsova has the advantage. Sharapova, as a youngster, had ambidextrous tendencies and even considered playing tennis left-handed. But maybe one of the reasons, I think it is, to be honest with you, that a two-handed backhand is so strong.
You see Sharapova taking this ball out of the air. Keeps her eye on the ball the whole time, and it's a swing volley, just like a ground stroke. Gets fired up early in the match.
Kuznetsova did a Kim Clijsters-like slide at the end of that point. Missed the two-time champion. He's been injured since March. Clijsters, just a couple of matches since.
Big return off the backhand, but if you remember when Chris Evert played, that left hand was really on there just for a little support. Didn't do a lot of the work. Tracy Austin as well. And now these players, Davenport, Sharapova, they all use a left hand for more power.
The breaker serve goes to Maria Sharapova, the Wimbledon champion, and she will serve with a 2-1 lead this year in the championships in Los Angeles. Breaker serve, 2-1, Sharapova.
Good start for Sharapova, who has a bit of a disadvantage perhaps in that this is her first match of the round robin. Kuznetsova had a nice win last night over Zvonareva, who right now is sort of the, so far as the early pigeon of the tournament, losing twice early, easily.
Is that indicative of the truth about the difference between the Russians? And I mean, Is she the pigeon, and have we got really three there at the top, including Sharapova, or is she not at the level with...
You know, well, I think Zvonareva is exhausted, and she's an emotional player anyway, and I think when an emotional player is tired, it's a disaster, because then the negative emotions just take over. Not quite as good, though, as these two, that's for sure.
Not to mention, not to forget to mention, that Miskina is the top-ranked Russian.
That's right, the French Open champion this year. Also Serena last night had a lead, a set in 2 breaks, 3 love, let it slip away.
Miskina was the first of these Russians to break the top 10. It was a couple of years ago.
Game point for 3-1.
Kuznetsova that's blasted right here. Lob is tricky, but Kuznetsova, talk about the left hand doing some damage on the two-handed backhand, Mary Jo. There's an example.
Incredible, from way behind the baseline, got her on the outside of the ball to get the angle.
She certainly had to supply all the power on that backhand.
Power of Sharapova keeps you on your heels, and so far playing a very clean match. Both players with just 3 unforced errors apiece after 4 games.
And that's Sharapova's weakness sometimes. She goes for a lot on her shots and can make a lot of unforced errors.
That's overall. The linesperson called it in. The chair ump changed the call. It's love 15. Sandra DeJenkin in the chair. Oh. Up a break already, and a very good start to this game.
Start to the match.
Anticipated the serve to the forehand. There, bounced.
Brink really breaking open this first set. 3 break points and a break in hand already for Sharapova. Looking very strong so far. Couple breaks of serve, and she's got 4 games to 1, and she'll serve. We'll take a look at the aerial shot of the City of Angels. Maria Sharapova, Wimbledon champion, against Svetlana Kuznetsova, who's the US Open champ, 2 Grand Slammers, playing in the round-robin competition for the year-ending championship for 1-2 breaks.
It's only the second first serve that Sharapova has missed. Her 3rd service game. They
had 6 unforced errors in this match so far. It's been very clean, especially from Sharapova, because she's got more juice, at least at this point in the match.
This serves a big part of Sharapova's game. Give her the confidence to swing out, take control of points early. She's always the one trying to do something with her first opportunity.
Mary Jo, I'm interested in your comment, because you had a really superb two-handed backhand, not just blowing smoke at you, because you were very
Good, because I'm
successful
sitting between you.
So I want to look at that two-handed backhand, because you're saying that she's using more of the left hand than you used to in your era.
Oh, all the players today.
Does that give you more
Great
juice?
Yes, definitely. And the first time I realized it was when I was playing doubles with Lindsay Davenport, who uses that left hand beautifully as well. And every time we got a slow ball that I would want to hit a swing volley, she goes, "You have to use your left arm. You'll get more power on it. Don't hit a regular volley. Hit it with your left hand." And it makes a huge difference.
Did you listen to her?
First double fault of the night.
Sharapova can go through a streak of hitting some double faults. She's aggressive with her second serve. Really goes up and after it.
Watching live coverage here of the year-ending championship of women's tennis, WTA Tour Finals. We're in Los Angeles. The event is presented by Porsche. Watching two Grand Slam winners against each other. Kuznetsova and Sharapova, both from Russia. Sharapova with a break, but she just lost 2 points to get back to deuce in this game. In fact, she's up 2 breaks, got a 4-1 lead, and now break chance for the first time for Kuznetsova.
Seeing a little bit of that streakiness that Mary Jo was talking about. Double fault and 2 forehand unforced errors off very routine shots. So from 40-15 up to go to 5-1. Now break point down for Kuznetsova to get right back in this first set.
How well Sharapova gets low to hit this forehand. Not easy moving forward. She knows it's still a big game up at 4-1 against a player she's never defeated before.
A pretty good job there of fighting off her first break point.
As I said, it was so effective on the grass at Wimbledon. Slide her out wide.
Yeah, the right-hander absolutely has to use that serve on grass. Venus did it awfully well the 2 years she won her Wimbledon titles. Another tall player could get outside the ball on that deuce side.
Couple of double faults balanced so far in the match by 2 aces. Or 1 and deuce.
Such an emotional moment. We've seen some dads with great emotions on their face when their daughters won majors the last few years.
Sharapova has held on to this huge lead that she has a couple of breaks. Let's talk about this two-handed backhand again of Sharapova's. Mary Jo, this left hand and the part that it plays.
Well, it's not just there for support. She really uses it in her preparation. She's up high on the grip, and then right at contact, you can see she's a little bit above the ball, and she can get outside the ball as well to get more angle on her cross-court backhand. So not only does she get more power, but she gets better placement because she uses it. And you mentioned there was a time when she toyed with the fact of maybe playing lefty because that left hand was so smooth on that shot.
She's had some coaching help from Robert Lansdorf, one of the great coaches of the ground stroke. Actually, he coaches every part of the game, but Tracy Austin, Lindsay Davenport.
Pete was with him for a while.
Elliot Telcher.
Messina trained with him for about a year. He's out here in Southern California where Maria spends a lot of time. Now she's working with Michael Joyce on the road, who is a player. He also worked with Lansdorf.
Wow.
7 points coming up.
This is such an impressive first set. Coming out of the gates against a player, Kuznetsova, who's been playing well. Looked great last night in her win. And Kuznetsova's never lost to Sharapova. Not that that would stop Maria from coming out here with confidence.
No, she also hasn't played it since she won Wimbledon, so we're talking about a different player here. The slam that Maria Sharapova has, she has the lead, a big lead here, and she's won the first set easily with some very, very solid play. Very consistent. She's made so few unforced errors, only 7. Round-robin competition, the year-ending championship. Sharapova, Wimbledon champ, has won the first set easily.
Kuznetsova, only 5 unforced errors in that first set. I mean, it's not like she played a terrible first set. It was just a dominating performance from Sharapova.
Took by Sharapova just a couple of weeks ago in Beijing.
78% first serves, huge percentage for a big server. 12 winners from Sharapova, only 7 unforced, and obviously she got to break point and converted 3 of 4 times.
It's as well set play for Sharapova as you're going to see, and I think the key has been the serve. If she can keep up those numbers, she will win this match.
So the shoulder must be feeling, at least right now, just fine and dandy.
So methodical. Maria Sharapova really takes her time between points, sometimes even between her first and second serve. She likes her routine and her rituals.
Rituals are so important in any sport, whether you're a golfer, your pre-shot routine, or baseball player, batter, or pitcher. Of course, the serve is the time where you really can go through the rituals on your own time.
That's terrific serving from Sharapova, and she has got one game in the second set having won the first. Sunday women's college basketball season tips off on ESPN2, a doubleheader. First at 1:30 Eastern, 8th-ranked Baylor Bears take on number 2 LSU Tigers, and then at 3:30 Eastern, Penn State, number 21, takes on 3rd-ranked Longhorns of Texas. They've had a great women's basketball team for years now.
Yeah, Jody Conrad, only 847 wins in her career. Oof.
So let's tell the Kuznetsova story, if you can fill in some of the blanks for us. 14, she was training at the Sanchez Casal Academy in Barcelona. Emilio Sanchez, who was an outstanding player, particularly doubles, but he was a good all-rounder also, is here with her. He was also in Moscow during the tournament with her. They called her Sveta when she joined him, and it was the first year. And she was a very good friend of Arantxa Sanchez because she's originally from St. Petersburg.
Sveta may play some doubles next year with Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. Navratilova did ask her again to play, but she said wasn't quite ready to figure it out yet. So Martina's gone on to ask Antikova to play. Rise in the rankings has been so swift.
Kuznetsova's been playing doubles this year with the Hotsova. They've actually qualified for this championship. They'll play on the weekend.
Having a little trouble, though, controlling the ball during her ritual.
Reached 3 Grand Slam finals in doubles this year: Australia, French, and the U.S. Open.
Sveta has a couple of nicknames. Kuzi is another one, last name. We all like to shorten up all the last names.
Well, you know, they hear us pronounce their names and they're cringing. It's basically what they were saying when you were talking.
But they're not surprised. They're not surprised.
No, they sort of just go with the flow.
You know, we've had about 5 different pronunciations for some.
Kuznetsova is a pronunciation for the moment of her name, and you talked to her just a couple of days ago. Here's what she said about all this.
You guys say Dementieva, so I'm already started to talk the same way. So I think Russian way is Dementieva. So you point on the start of the surname. As Kuznetsova is Sharapova, not Sharapova, Popova. It's not like this. Myskina, not Piskina, you know, whatever. So not Navratilova, by the way, it's Navratilova. So, guys, we have to learn all to pronounce this name because I'm terrible because I speak with all of you.
She blames us.
By the way, the first name she said was Dementieva. She's been calling her Dementieva instead of Dementieva, just so you know. But she's fun. I mean, she's really
very funny.
Well, Dementieva or Dementieva, that's the one that we've gone back and forth, and depending on who you work for, on what day, it's pronounced a certain... Anyway.
But so many times, because they spend so much time in the States, they just want to be called what they're used to here in the States.
Mentioned that Kuznetsova's parents were into cycling. Dad was a coach at the most famous cycling club in Moscow, and the mom was a world-class Olympic cycler. So it's her dad that steered her toward a sport other than cycling.
It's smart, going to tennis. I mean, what else globally can female athletes achieve what these two have already done before they're 20 years of age? Millionaires?
There by Kuznetsova. 15:30. Early stages, second set, but sort of mini crisis for Sharapova.
15-14. Well, a little different start here. And there's the 1987 French mixed doubles champion.
Who did he win that title with? Do you remember, Cliff?
Emilio Sanchez, the coach of Kuznetsova.
He went with our own Shriver.
And there's another double fault, and there's a break of serve. And as we go to the break, I will say one thing about him. She knew how to pick the double spot.
Sure did.
Mixed and women.
Didn't know how to pronounce the name, though.
Break of serve, 2-1. U.S. Open champ Kuznetsova serving to Sharapova. First set, Sharapova.
15-11. Look at our Dubai duty-free match summary, and you will see that finally Kuznetsova has a break in hand. Not too many break points she's faced, but again, it's keeping the unforced errors down. It's really been the story for these two heavy hitters. Sharapova winning the first set. Both players single digits with unforced errors in that first set.
The unforced errors are starting to creep into Sharapova's game early in the second. She already has almost as many as she did the entire first set.
Boy, that's a superb return. Gives her a couple of break points to get back on serve in the second.
You know, I'm not sure why Kuznetsova is serving quite so much to the backhand side. It's really seems to sting a lot more than the forehand return, at least more consistently.
She likes that kick serve. This is one of the best ones on the women's tour. Kuznetsova.
The mistake, because that was an easy pass for Sharapova on a break point.
Did the hard work 2 shots earlier with a backhand on the dead run down the line. That point started by a very good second serve that made Sharapova take some steps. And that's the key. You can, if she's planted, she can blast it. Huge point.
Serve back for Sharapova, 2 apiece.
That was close. She's almost around the net. The singles stick. Look at the singles stick. Yep, it's on the outside of that stick that
just missed. Good eyes from Sharapova. She knew right away what a big point that was. Break back.
Judging that she's complaining that Sharapova is the one who indicated that it was out. She doesn't want to have the chair ump. It was out.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to have the chair ump influenced by the player's call.
Fair enough. Influencing calls. I wonder if Kuznetsova might say something to her sometimes doubles partner next year, Sanchez Vicario, who's known for doing that a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay, a lot.
serve. You know, she serves double false some so far in this match, 4. But the basic action, motion, I think is very good, very smooth.
It's that front foot, the toes up, a little bit like, what's his name, who won a bunch of Wimbledon titles on the men's side, Mr. Sampras.
She's ambitious with that second serve, and I think that's good for a young player. She still has a lot of room for improvement in her game, but I think it'll pay off in the long run.
Mr. Sampras, by the way, was on the golf course this afternoon with Mr. Al Michaels of ABC's Monday Night Football, just so you know.
Name dropper. Pete's on the golf course about as often as my husband is. That would be every day.
Not as much as my husband would like to be.
30 all. This is a break chance again for a third straight break in this second set.
Terrific get there from Sharapova, forcing Kuznetsova, hitting an extra shot. 6 foot tall, moves very well, doesn't carry any extra weight, which certainly helps. Totally different build here, still a fit athlete, Kuznetsova.
Kuznetsova breaks again. She's 1 break in front, having just been herself broken in her last serve game. 3-2 Kuznetsova. In fact, a lot of great events, period, and they are hosting this great year-ending championship, and they do a lot of fun things between games. Just like they do in basketball, they sort of get this crowd a little juiced and jacked with fun.
Yeah, they just had a time where they would show a couple and on the big video wall say, kiss them.
Sometimes they're not a couple.
No, they want nothing of it. Well, the server is just in a terrible rut right now. Can't seem to get on top. Good returning again. That time Sharapova seems to be camped on that kicker out wide on the ad side.
Watch Sharapova. You talk about somebody who is occupied with what's happening on the court. Her eyes never leave the court surface. She never looks at anybody in the crowd or chair umpire, anything like that. She is totally focused on the ball and the court.
Great court coverage from Sharapova, who's worked so hard this year on her movement. A year ago, she was growing still. Was a little bit out of sync with her steps.
That goes long. Sharapova about to serve again. We are now on serve. Take a look at some of the mechanics of this. Is a very smooth motion, very good balance on the serve at 3 games all in the second. And take a look at it where the ball toss is a little higher than where she makes contact with it. The knees are bent, but just take a look at this balance as she moves into it. Now she's slightly off the ground, as you can see, eye squarely on the ball and at full stretch. When she makes contact with the ball, she gets a lot of juice on it because she puts it together so well.
And the full stretch thing to me is what stands out so many times in women's tennis. Like if we show a Venus Williams serve, you see at the waist, at contact, that the waist is broken down and it's not in a straight line.
My point about it is that if the mechanics are good, the serve can get better. This is just a teenager after all. 17 when she wins Wimbledon.
I will say one of the exceptions, and maybe her mechanics weren't perfect, but Martina Hingis, everybody was waiting for Hingis's serve to get a little bit better because she had a nice service action, but it never did get better. not sure she ever was committed to it getting better.
Well, the other thing I like about Maria's serve, not only the mechanics smooth, but she has a purpose before she serves, which is a great lesson for youngsters who are watching. Don't just go up to the service line and hit a serve. Pick a spot. Know where you want to go, and she takes her time to think about each and every serve.
And by a spot, I mean, we literally mean like on a dime. I mean, there's no reason on the serve. You've got total control of the toss, and it's the one shot that your opponent has no say, except for the fact, obviously, if they're returning great, they might affect you mentally.
Maria Sharapova in front now in the second set by 4-3 after winning the first. They do some fun things here. Well, before this tournament started, they had a race. They raced Porsches against each other. This was just outside of the Staples Arena. There they go. They're off.
And Maresmo won.
Back up. 4-3, Maria Sharapova leading Svetlana Kuznetsova at the moment. You're watching WTA Tour Championships live from Los Angeles. Second set, first set, Sharapova. Second set, a good start by Kuznetsova, who got the break, and then was broken back, then got another break, but Sharapova again broke back, so it's 4-3 on serve. Now love 30 for the Wimbledon champ.
I think Sharapova is sniffing the finish line. She's 6 points away.
Definitely getting a little bit louder. She sniffs that finish line.
It's like that song, a little bit louder now, a little bit louder now. Kuznetsova for the first time taking every last second. Usually it's Sharapova squeezes out the time. US Open champion knows she needs to hold this service game from love 30, now 15-30.
Great defense from Sharapova, making Kuznetsova hit that extra overhead, but makes no mistake, keeps her left hand up. She still knows she's in the match.
She misplays that last overhead. She's down 2 break points for Sharapova to serve for the match.
The elbow on that one, because she knows what you just pointed out, and that a mistake, and it could be fatal. This is a break chance for 5-3.
She doesn't serve many doubles, 1 each set.
Every shot, Sharapova.
What about that neck court shot?
She was willing it over with her body.
Jumped off the ground in the middle of the rally. The slow walk now of Kuznetsova, barely getting to the out of breath. Now, looking at Sharapova do that right there, where she's exaggerating the lift of her racket, I guess what she's saying to herself is change the pace of the play up a little bit. Don't just smack the ball and hit into Kuznetsova's power zone. Robert Lansdorf, coach, looks on. Does Maria consider Robert her coach or just an advisor? Mary
Well, I
Jo?
think her dad, Yuri, is the quarterback of the team, and
Yep.
she trains a lot with Robert, trains with Voltaire. I think Nick's more of an advisor.
Kuznetsova comes back, a huge comeback for her, and there are the standings as of now.
Well, Mauresmo and the Russians. Porsche standings, Kuznetsova with a win last night over Zvonareva, who's only won 7 games, lost 24. That's not a football score there. That's that wrong side of 2 matches.
4-4 second set. Love. It's no secret that Maria Sharapova has signed some huge contracts, including with Motorola for just one of them, and others. But I was talking to the Nike boys and saying, well, has she got her own line of Nike clothes? And Nakajima says to me, well, not yet. We didn't expect her to win Wimbledon at 17.
Quickly. Huge ace. She has secured a lot of big deals. She's going to have her own fragrance next fall. She's very involved with the creative process.
So you'll be able to buy like a Sharapova or a Federer.
That's right.
And maybe a Sabatini still.
Sabatini has her own fragrance.
For years.
30 love.
I have my own fragrance, but it's not for sale.
Canon just signed her to be the face of their product worldwide. That was announced this week. But she's made a point of not having a lot of appearance days. She's still very focused on her tennis and just picks a few days throughout the year to do all the extra stuff off the court. I was talking to her agent, Max Eisenbud, earlier this week, and he told me that Maria's had 300 requests for photo shoots since winning Wimbledon, and they've turned each one down, making sure that her main priority is her tennis, and she'll do one at the end of the year for Vogue. But she doesn't want to get carried away with everything that comes with being a huge star.
Sharapova, the Wimbledon champ, holds on. She is in front in the second set. She won the first set relatively easily against the U.S. Open champ. They're both from Russia. 5-4, Sharapova.
It's out wide serve, but Sharapova got it back deep and close to the line.
Can I point out that you two were saying in the early stage of this match that if the points went long, that they were in the favor of Kuznetsova. But, well, there haven't been that many long points, have there? But, I mean, she seems to be staying with her.
No, it's true.
From the baseline
she's run
really well.
down a lot more balls than I expected. You see her dad being a little nervous, trying to get to the finish line. But she's been able to dictate, which has not been the case the last 2 times in her losses to Kuznetsova. She doesn't mind the pace that she's been seeing tonight.
Remember, they played a few weeks ago, and Kuznetsova won 2-2.
Match points coming up for Sharapova. Spectacular effort from the Wimbledon champ. Spectacular for the teenager, as she made Only 14 unforced errors and way more than balanced by 23 winners, Mary Jo.
It was a phenomenal performance by Sharapova, the Wimbledon champion. It was a mental match as well. She had never defeated Kuznetsova, but she really took it to her. She controlled the points. I thought the serving percentage was the key because that gave her some room to really go for her shots and get some confidence.
And the first set was a runaway, but the second set was tight throughout, and Sharapova was able to win the big points towards the end, and this was her first ever match in a year-end championships. Very impressive.
Mauresmo, they have both won 2 sets without loss. Kuznetsova is down 1, and Svetlana can make her.
In Beijing, and on her second serve, she had so much confidence that, you know, a lot of the balls were aces, and I thought, you know, I just didn't have enough time to react. And today, you know, I started to put pressure on her from the beginning, and you know, it just went through. Even though I was down a break, you know, I still felt like I was in control.
Maria, the last couple of weeks, you've had a little bit of a shoulder injury. Today, you seem to serve beautifully, and I thought that was very important. How much do you rely on your serve in these matches?
Yeah, my shoulder is very good. You know, I've recovered, and you know, it's definitely a factor against a top 10 player. You know, as long as you can serve, that gives you a bit of confidence, knowing maybe, you know, you can find a way to break.
You started the match so well tonight. It was your first ever few games in a year-end championship. How nervous were you, and how were you able to kind of work through that so well?
Yeah, I don't know. I love it here. It's just the atmosphere is great to be in the Staples Center, you know, where the Lakers play all the time, to be on stage in front of the crowd. It's amazing. I'm just so happy to be here.
It's the first time you play in a round-robin format. How much did that affect you mentally? Do you feel more pressure or less pressure knowing that even if maybe you lost tonight, you still have a chance to move forward?
You know, I don't really care. I'm so happy to be here. I don't really care. I just want to play well, you know, and can't play well every day, but I'll take the good ones.
Well, you're in the group that's led by Mauresmo.
Right.
But it's a group that's really up in the air. Anyone can come through. So
exactly.
How do you feel your chances are now that you have one match out of the way?
You know, I think it's good to have a match in. I've never played Mauresmo before. I know it's going to be a tough match, but you know, feeling confident, and hopefully, you know, I can do well.
Well, great result tonight.
Thank you.
Way to turn.